Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Ask the Experts. I'm Diane Southard, founder and CEO of Your DNA Guide. Our mission is to help you find the ancestors you're looking for by providing you with some excellent DNA education. And we've started this Ask the Expert series to give you some exposure to other experts in the industry that might be able to help you on your specific journey. So today I am welcoming Laura Olmsted and Aimee Rose Haynes with us, who are here to talk about DNAngels. And so I'm just going to turn the time over to them for a minute so they can introduce themselves, and then we'll pop into the questions. So Laura, tell us who you are and how you got here.
Thank you, Diane. My name is Laura Olmsted, and I am the founder and executive director of DNAngels. And we are a nonprofit search angel genetic genealogy organization that helps find birth parents.
Awesome. And Aimee?
Hi, I am Aimee Rose Haynes, and I started with DNAngels almost exactly 4 years ago. I think in 1 month it'll be 4 years. But I'm the associate director and one of the genetic genealogists.
Excellent. Welcome. We are so excited to have you. And from all the comments I've already seen already, everybody else is really excited that you're here too. So let's start out with the most obvious question with tell us, so we all really understand, what is the mission of DNAngels?
Good question. So our mission is pretty simple, right? It's to identify biological parents with the use of our genetic genealogy skills at no cost. So donations are accepted and we do encourage them. What's free to our clients is not free to us. Our skills have a value, but we feel that everyone deserves to know who their biological parents are, regardless of the balance of your bank account. And we stick by that.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Thank you. So tell us kind of how you ended up here. What's the story of DNAngels? How did you end up in this nonprofit organization doing this amazing work?
Yeah, it's another good question. So I have a story, right? In 2017, I had already been the family historian for 15 years. For my family, I had a tree of about 10,000 people. I knew who my mom was and my dad was and all of our ancestors. And to enhance that research, I wanted to take a DNA test with Ancestry because I just thought it was cool. And I wanted to see what it was all about. And when I got my results back, I remember being so excited, like this is going to be so great. And I had like 24,000 cousins that matched me, right? And I could clearly see who my mom's family was in my DNA matches, but I didn't see anybody on my dad's side. I had these names that I just wasn't familiar with. And I came to discover within about 24 hours that my dad wasn't my biological dad and that I had another man that had actually created me. And it really threw me into a tailspin. I'm going to be honest, Diane. It was probably one of the most traumatic things that ever happened to me. Because obviously I'm a daddy's girl. I love my dad. And of course, nothing's going to take away from the love that I have for my dad. But it is important to know who created you. So I needed to figure out how to identify my biological dad. I wasn't getting answers from my family. So I've always been kind of a nerd and I have an affinity for the math and sciences. So I studied really quickly and I learned how to use centimorgans and in relationship to how that DNA match is related to me. And within about 2 weeks, I figured out who my biological dad was. And he had already passed. But along the way of my recovery from this DNA surprise, I met so many other people that not only experienced the same surprise as me, but they also learned how to identify their own biological parent. So fast forward to about a year later, several of us got together and said, let's do this as a group, just a support group on Facebook. And so that's what we did. And it just kind of blossomed from there into an actual business and a nonprofit. So that we could, look for grants to sustain us and things like that. And 5 years later, we are going to celebrate our 5-year anniversary next month. And we've solved over 5,000 cases, which Aimee will tell you more about later. But it's just an incredible accomplishment. And we couldn't be prouder to represent this community of DNA surprises. And it's not just DNA surprises. We also help anyone searching. So you could be adopted, donor conceived, or simply just never knew who your father was. And we're here for you.
That's awesome. We've got a lot of people coming in. We've got Ed saying, on behalf of all adoptees, thank you, DNAngels. I had another one about, I should have probably written it down. They're all coming in so fast. Sometimes it's hard to catch them all. So many people just really, really grateful for the service that you're providing and validating the need for it. And I just love what you said, how I think all good things start this way. We start small, and we think, oh yeah, I can do this small thing. I can start a Facebook group, that I can do that, right? And then it kind of builds from there. And gratefully, right, if you're like me, if you had told yourself 5 years ago you were going to be sitting in this chair talking to me, you'd have been like, nope, not
Right.
not going there, right? At least that's
Right.
how I feel in my business. Like, and I think that that's a sign of good things. They grow. Good things grow. And I loved your story. Thank you for sharing.
We
So
tried
you
to let
gave
it be organic and not forced. So we
Yes.
didn't approach this as a business. We approached this as like
A service.
sincerely a loving service that we offer. We don't want someone to go to bed one more night and not know who their parent is. So if I know who your dad is, you're going to know who it is, regardless of the time of day.
Yep.
Love it. Love that passion. Okay, you gave us a few numbers, but maybe give us a further sense of scale. How long have you been doing this? How many? So you said 5 years. So how many people have you helped? How many people have you served? Give us some numbers.
Yeah, so we started in February of 2019 and became an official nonprofit organization a couple of months after that. We started with just a handful of volunteers, and we have grown over to almost 100 volunteers now. These are people that are just wanting to help people identify their birth parents. They're volunteering their time. We have over 5,100 case solves. So that's 5,100 clients that know their biological truth now.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have different types of programs that we help our clients once they get their answers. We don't just stop there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's so many people. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So you mentioned, 5,100 people. So obviously every case is different. Every experience is different. But as you mentioned, Laura, this is not just something that happens on paper, right? This happens emotionally to us. So tell us about some of the emotional support that you offer to people in these kinds of searches.
Yeah, so we personally connect one-on-one with every single client. Not every client is going to have the same situations. They're all going to feel different. They're all going to handle this emotional journey a little bit differently. So we connect with them one-on-one. We offer any type of service that's going to help them get through. Some people they have their answers and they're great and they just go on their merry way, but other people need a little bit of extra support. So we first have a clients only safe space Facebook page. It's secret, it's private, nobody can search for it. And anything that is posted in that group is completely private with only us who work with DNAngels and those clients only. So they can vent, they can share. It is a safe space for them. We also have public Facebook groups that are specific to situations. So we have one just for NPEs. We have one just for donor conceived. We have one just for adoptees. So if you fit in any of those categories and you want to connect with somebody else that's just like you can join one of those Facebook groups. And we also have services outside of DNAngels that we're partnered with, like Right to Know. They have these Facebook type Zooms where it's in person. You can talk to people. It's just for people that are going through a situation. And they usually have peer-led and therapist-led different videos, lives, I should say.
That's amazing. I did not know actually about Right to Know. I'll look into that. That's a fabulous sounding service. We've got lots of people writing in with their own situations. I just want to share what Jean said here, how she helped an adopted friend find her bio dad. It was the most thrilling thing that I've done in genealogy. I felt like a midwife.
Yes.
I think that's such an interesting comparison there, Jean. Thank you for sharing that. And then we have several people actually chiming in about how to volunteer. So hold on just a minute. When we get to the end, they'll tell us how you guys can chime in and help out with their efforts. I wanted to pose this question from Janet that we get a lot too, that I'm sure you can answer for her just right here. She found out that her brother is her half brother, and she's found his two possible fathers, which are brothers. And she wants to know, how can she find out which brother is the father?
I'll take that one. So first of all, I'm so sorry about the DNA discovery for your brother. I know that it does impact the family. And a lot of people are going to say, well, he's still your brother. And yes, he is still your brother, but he's going to have some hurt that goes along with that. So just love him through it. And then if you've got to narrow down to 2 possible dads, really the only thing you can do, and this is what I would tell any of my clients, is I've found your biological grandparents and they had 2 sons. Now, because we don't have any DNA under those, or we can't geographically differentiate them and there's no age difference, you're going to have to test either those boys or a descendant under them. So their child or their grandchild. You'll have to reach out in person and do that and ask them to test for you.
Right. So it's
or get a confession. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
It is a double
DNA, exactly. So DNA can only tell you so much, right? And and the good news is you've already learned all the current DNA can tell you. So you've done everything right. You've done it well, theoretically. You've found the right people. But yeah, from here, you have to really decide, is it worth it for you to reach out and ask them for this favor to find this out? So, and you don't have to, right? You don't have to.
You can leave it alone. That could be good enough for you.
Absolutely. Okay. So next question that we had for you is, what kinds of research methods or resources do you utilize the most to track down these biological parents, especially in cases where traditional genealogical records are limited?
Yeah, so we do use the traditional genealogy work. We use those records, and once we have exhausted all that and we've proven that we can't go any further with those, or they're not going to help us at that point in time until we get further into the tree, we are using the DNA. The DNA is the next most important thing that we need to use. If the records aren't going to help us, we can't work with records. We have to use those DNA matches. So we're going through those DNA matches and we're pouring over every single one by one, looking at those trees and trying to form a most recent common ancestor line. Who do all of these DNA matches have in common? What is that ancestor's name? Once we have that name, we are running with both feet on the ground and we are expanding those trees. We are trying to find their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, to wherever we need to be in that time frame for our target. So if we're looking for a biological mom or a biological dad, that's where we're trying to isolate to that time frame. So once we get all that, we're still looking at those DNA matches, trying to get a little bit closer in time. And once we get to where we suspect the grandparent line is, or we run out of DNA matches and we can't go any further, I'm going to go back to those records and I'm going to see if I can find anything. We're looking at Ancestry, Family Search. We're on Wiki. We are on newspapers, Fold3. We are Googling, looking for newspaper articles that says like this person went to school here or this person was engaged here. Whatever newspaper articles that we can get to kind of get a little bit closer. We're also, if we have to, if we're still stuck, we're going to be calling local libraries. If I know somebody is in Lucas County, Ohio, I'm going to call that library and say, hey, by any chance, do you have anything on this family line in your genealogy room? Do you have anything you can send me, email me? And most of the times they are happy to help. If we're still stuck, we're going to go back to those DNA matches. I'm going to find the first few, the highest ones that I think that might be able to help us. And I'm going to try to find out their social media pages. I'm going to kind of go through their social media pages if it's public. I'm going to look to see who's commenting on their pictures. If they say, happy birthday, mom. If they have a list of who their family members are. And if I'm still stuck, I'm going to try and reach out to them, whether sending them a message or if I'm going to try to figure out their phone number, an email address. We're relentless, guys. We are on that case and we're trying to figure it out, and nothing is safe at that point. We use any and every type of resource we can get our hands on. That includes public records too. I didn't mention that one, but like white pages and been verified, those types of things. We're going to use that also to try to identify what we can and get our client into contact either with a biological parent, with a suspected half sibling, or a first cousin, or an auntie or uncle, just any type of person that we can get our hands on for our client to get those answers if they choose to go further.
Exactly. Okay, so I have a comment and then a question. So my comment is, you've mentioned so many what we call finding living people tactics. And we're actually teaching a class next week here at Your DNA Guide on finding living relatives. And so we'll help anybody who's out there who's trying to identify one of their DNA matches, like that's a new class that we're offering. I was just working on it this morning. I'm really excited about it. So if you're interested in that, we'll be sending out the link to that as well. My question is, how often in these 5,000 cases that you've solved, how often would you say percentage-wise are you able to just identify the person you're looking for without further testing?
I'm going to say it's quite a few. I don't know the specific percentage that is out there, but we can usually almost all the time get it down to the grandparent line. So if we get to a grandparent line, one of their children is going to be the biological parent. If you're looking for a birth mom, there's a group of sisters. Obviously, we're maybe stuck at that point. One of these women are going to be your birth mother. The others are going to be your auntie. You need to get some more DNA testing to confirm, or reach out and see if somebody says, oh, yeah, I did have a baby in Auburn, Washington in 1982. And same thing with the brothers. Sometimes we can use locations to help us identify who is the most likely person. So if, like I said, Auburn, Washington, but this family line, this grandparent line is from New York City, somebody was in Auburn. If we can prove one person in Auburn, Washington, that person is going to be the most likely suspect.
Excellent. Okay. I want to bring up this question from Jerry. So he's helping his cousin, and then he's asking, would you work with the proxy, meaning Jerry's the genealogist, the one who's interested. I mean, obviously the cousin is interested as well. Like, how does that relationship work? If Jerry wanted to be the one working with you, do you do that, or would you need to work directly with the cousin?
Jerry, I'm really, excuse me, I'm really glad that you brought that up. We do work with representatives as long as we have the permission of the DNA holder. So the person who actually took the DNA test, and we will ask for them, we will ask for their permission, and we'll ask them to sign an agreement that we can use a representative on their behalf.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you. And then we have this question from Sharon. If a person was born in the UK, not the US, does DNAngels still help?
Thank you for asking. We just expanded to the UK. We have a specific team of DNAngels that live in the UK, and they exclusively work our UK cases. So yes, please apply at our screening room or at DNAangels.org, and we will get you to the right angel. So they work with us daily, and they're part of our everyday team. They just exclusively work those cases for the UK.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what Laura had said, not only do we have the UK specific team, but we also have a Puerto Rican team that is dedicated to finding those tough cases that are originating from Puerto Rico. So it's not just US based anymore, it's Puerto Rico and the UK.
Awesome. Well, that's great. That's really great. And I mean, one of the questions kind of in the back of my mind, which you probably don't have any like really solid data for, but again, is what is the demographic of people who are coming to you, and are the current databases sufficient, or are you finding that with immigrants especially, or people outside of the US, is it so much harder, or what's your feel there?
That's a good question. We are very data strong, right? So I collect data on everything. I know exactly how many cases we solved for NPEs, adoptees, donor conceived community, and other, right? Because I need to know where we maybe need to put more of our effort in. I know, the demographic and geographic actually of all of our clients. I don't necessarily release that publicly, but if somebody wanted to know privately, I'm more than happy to share. But now what was the question?
So just in general then, demographically, are most of your clients,
we don't have to turn that many away from outside of the United States or the United Kingdom. We do get the odd question or the odd request from, maybe a Canadian client or someone from Central or South America. Australia we had yesterday, but we have referrals for all of those. Okay. So if we cannot serve you, we are very resourceful. So awesome. If someone has services that they offer at no cost in another country, we will refer them there, because we still don't want to leave you hanging, right? We're still mission focused. We want you to find your answer. So if I can give you a referral to an outside agency, I will do that.
Excellent. Okay. People are always interested in case studies, so we'd love for you to share in whatever way you can, just any cases that have especially touched you or have made you feel like, yep, this is why I'm here.
Client Stories with Aimee. She talks about our clients every single day. We leave it non-identifiable, but she does give a review of clients. And you can find that on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. But Aimee, do you have anything that sticks out for you?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Dr. Nicole Price's case because that's my favorites.
Love that one.
Came to us as a DNA surprise. She had no clue that her daddy was not her daddy, was raised that she was a daddy's girl. So she did a DNA test and was like, not a big deal, not worried about it, just for ethnicity, trying a little more about her history. Then her niece does a test later on and she's like, oh, let's see how we match. That's when she realized that something was amiss. She thought that, okay, she never thought that her dad wasn't her dad. She thought maybe her mom wasn't her mom. Maybe her sister was her mom. She didn't know. And then it finally dawned on her that her daddy wasn't her daddy. And let me tell you about this woman. We're sitting here conversing, we're getting the tree in there, and it was a very difficult case. And it was literally, she was helping and I was putting stuff in the tree and she was gathering this document and I was verifying it. And then we get to the family line and we needed to get out of state, I think in Missouri. We had to get from Mississippi to Missouri. And we found one brother that was there. He had passed away. But how is it in this crazy world that she knew who this gentleman was? He was famous for his barbecue in this town and she knew this family. She gets in her car, drives to this restaurant, DNA test in the backseat of her car. She says, don't ask me why I have DNA test. I'm headed over there now. But she had him already in her car going to the barbecue restaurant. The man's daughter was out of the country and her husband said, oh, but yeah, there's another brother living in an assisted living facility, which is why we couldn't find him. We had initials for him, but he went by a different name, but we couldn't find him anyway because he was in assisted living. The man in the assisted living, she goes to that nursing home, walks in, asks where his room is, goes and talks to him and says, hey, my name is this. This is my mom's name. Do you know who I am? He says, yes, you are my daughter. Did a DNA test right then and there. And 2 days later, it came back that he was actually the birth father of her. And they have bonded. And it's been great watching their bond grow over the past, I'd say probably a year now it's been since I've solved her case.
That's so amazing. Isn't that amazing? I think one of the things that I find especially with these kinds of cases that I've been involved with, birth family or even birth grandparents, where it's a small community. And a lot of times you already know the person, or at least know of the person that's actually involved in your life in a much more intimate way than you ever imagined. And that's, it's really amazing.
We had a birth father that was from Colombia that still lived in the United States, 2 blocks from our client. And she was actually a very long solve because, of course, this came from Colombia. We couldn't get anywhere with it. The matches were so small. But Christmas had brought her a present with those DNA kits that were on sale. And she got a half sister who was actually raised by their father. And he was 2 blocks from where our client lived. 2 blocks.
Amazing. 2 blocks.
Crazy.
Okay.
Follow up, and I'm so sorry to interrupt, but to follow up on Dr. Nicole Price, she has written a book called Redeemed by Dr. Nicole Price. It's available on Amazon. Redeemed.
Awesome. You mentioned several communities, but Kay just wants to know if you have specialties in African American research.
Okay, thanks for asking. We don't specialize in African American research. It is our research. So it's part of our general population. We do know that there are some challenges with the African American community, but we raise to those challenges. We are educated about those specific situations, and all of our angels are educated on that, and we all help that community.
Excellent.
Yeah, we don't distinguish that ethnicity like we would Puerto Rico or the UK.
Okay, excellent. Now, there's a lot of interested people on the call, and this is their big question. How do you find and train your search angels? How can people who are listening right now and who are feeling that tug, that pull that so many of us feel towards, especially this community, how could they join you?
I knew that would be a question. We do not currently have any openings for search angels or research. Okay, we're full on that. It's very important to us that we don't get too many search angels and then not have enough clients coming in and you're just idle, right? Your hands are idle, because we want you to constantly be learning, and you can only learn by doing the actual work. And having a month in between cases is not advantageous to us. We all work cases every single day or every single week. We don't go without working a case. However, we have openings in other areas of our organization, like marketing and fundraising, and we are always open for intake, social media, things like that. But I will say that in the past we have found our search angels by they just come to they come to us as a client. They've already done such good research that we can see the skills are there. They have the fundamental skills. They just need a little bit more training. And so we have education that we give our search angels in-house. So we've created Google Classrooms where it's very interactive. We show you how to do the leads method and how to sort your matches. We do DNA painter training and WADO training, and they actually have to take a test at the end of it to show that they're actually knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Proficient. And then they're going to take like 10 test cases where we're going to mentor you through those 10 cases. And then we're going to give you like a final test, and then we will let you alone with the client. But we're still going to monitor those. So we do have secondary verification systems in place. So we're not just giving somebody results and not having a senior member of staff look at that research and make sure that the results were correct. And we follow every single case. So we have a senior or we have an admin that we have in every single chat group so that there is backup and someone to chat with if you get into something that's just troubling or you can't solve yourself. One of our admins will do that. Can you add anything to that, Aimee?
Yeah, so we also do empathy training because what we're dealing with is a very sensitive subject. It's very sensitive for our clients to find out that dad isn't their dad, or they were adopted, or they find out they're donor conceived and they have 15 half siblings. They don't know how to react to all of that. So we do empathy training so we know how to handle those situations and to hold our client's hand through that whole entire process. And another thing, our volunteers, like Laura was saying, that we're all made up of people that were sometimes clients or were affected in some way. We have donor conceived, we have adoptees, we have NPEs, we have people who are affected by adoptions in their family, or they have adopted themselves, children, however it may be. We're all connected to this community personally in one way or another. So it helps us to connect to our clients on that one-on-one level.
Excellent. Awesome.
Not to say that we don't turn you away. We have wait lists for genetic genealogists or search angels that want to volunteer with us. So we absolutely will accept like a cover letter or your resume if you want to send it to info@DNAangels.org. We have an actual human resources person that follows up on all of that and gets you started with beginner tests. Before you even walk in the door, we need to know a little bit about you and your level of skill.
So if I were to suggest a way for anybody who's interested in joining you in this effort to be prepared for that time when their name floats to the top of the wait list, would I be correct in saying what they should do is work on their own genealogy, even if it's not a birth parent? All the skills are the same, whether you're finding your 4 times great grandmother or you're finding a dad in general, right? Take our Finding Living Relatives course next week. So, because those are unique skills to finding more recent people, but to also to mentor others. I think for me, one of the biggest reasons that I tell people you need to teach, even if you don't like get up in front of lots of people, teaching one-on-one even counts, is there's so much gained when you have to explain to someone else the process that you're taking, and you'll realize the gaps in your knowledge. You'll realize the flow that you're taking that you're maybe doing without noticing. And then that's one of the things that I've realized that I do well is I standardize steps, right? So the more you can teach, the more you can go to your local genealogical society and mentor somebody else in DNA and help this very beginner person learn all the things you've learned. Those are all things that are going to build up your skills and make you ready and capable to be really helpful to other people. So would you say that's correct?
Absolutely agree.
So what I recommend people that were on the wait list while they're waiting to learn how to do this, I told them to watch Ask the Experts. Go to YouTube, look at some of those videos, because that's how I learned. Blaine Bettinger's book. Go out and get his book about genetic genealogy and the DNA. Go read his book and study that, and go through your own tree. Look to see if you can identify your grandma's family, your grandpa's family. See if you can see how this second cousin is going to match you. See if you can put them in a tree and prove it. Those little steps will get you to learn and to think like a genetic genealogist or a search angel, to get you those skills and to build upon them as you keep learning more skills.
Right, exactly. I think you can go to your DNA match list, even if your tree is solid, even if you're like, I don't really have anybody that I need to find, I've done it all. You should go to your DNA match list, draw yourself a line in the sand, maybe at 100 centimorgans, and say, I'm going to identify every single person on my DNA match list from 100 centimorgans up.
Yep.
It's fun.
You're going to find exactly where they belong on your tree. It's really fun. Okay. But by doing that, you're going to, again, get these skills that are going to give you confidence in being able to help other people for sure.
Yep.
Okay. We are almost out of time here, but I just want you both to comment on, and we've heard it throughout our conversation together. I can hear your love for this. I can hear your passion for it. But just if you could summarize for us, why is it that you're doing this work?
It's still really simple for me. It's because you deserve to know who created you. You deserve to know a valid and accurate medical background. That is so important. And I know that Aimee got into this field because of a medical situation in her family. And that is exactly how that's how I feel about it. Like, you're entitled to know who your birth parents are, regardless of your set of circumstances, regardless of how you were created or what caused you to be here. You're entitled to know. You're not entitled to a relationship. We want to help you create that relationship and have a great reunion. However, bare bones, you deserve to know who your mom or dad is before you go to bed. We also do grandparent cases as well, but that's at a small cost, a service fee. We don't do those at no cost, but your parents are free.
Yeah, so thanks. You pretty much said it all. Everybody deserves the right to know where they come from. You should never have to wonder or question or look at the stranger on the street. Do I look like that person? Do I look like this person? You should always know where you come from and what your culture is. You could have a totally different culture and not even know it. And you may want to know about that culture. You might have a cool ancestor that you wanted to know about and you want to research more. Everybody's got a cool history, no matter where it's from. You just want to know where you come from. Where are those people that are way, way behind you? Where did you come from those people? How did those things come down?
Excellent. Thank you both for coming today, for taking this time. I know all of the comments in the chat have been so encouraging and positive and supportive of all the work that you're doing. I think Robert's kind of sums it up for, this has been an incredible discussion. He says, it's just, ER says, thank you. There's just so many wonderful people, just so excited about all the work that you guys are doing and helping so many people. And just as a reminder, if you have, if you've signed up to get reminders about our Ask the Expert series, we will be sending a follow-up email. Laura just actually published a book that's available on Amazon. If you want to show us that book, Laura, we'll send you a link to that. So it's just summarize for us. It's a journal, which is a really important process.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's called Finding My Roots. It's a journal of discovery and reunification with DNAngels, but it's written by Laura Olmsted. And it's a chronological prompted journal about your story, your unique DNA surprise story or adoption story or donor conceived story. It will take you through the process of making the discovery or finding out the circumstances of your birth, all the way through identifying the birth parents and the reunification process, and also, most importantly, healing from that reunification process.
Beautiful. Thank you. So again, if you signed up to get alerts, then we'll be sending you an email with a link to the DNAngels website, to some resources from your DNA guide, as well as her book. It's been such a pleasure to visit with you. I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing, and you're changing so many people's lives. And I love the ripple effect that I think of when I think of your 5,000 people that you've touched, and how their story is now rippling throughout the generations, both past and present and future. And I love thinking about the impact that you're having. So thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you for having us, Diane.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
All right, everybody. This session of Ask the Experts is over. Join us next month, where I will be visiting with Nathan Dylan Goodwin. the famous author of genealogy crime mystery books. So if you're interested in his work and would like to learn his process, join us next month on Ask the Experts. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.